Welcome to our podcast. It's selling the garden state.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Selling the Garden State. I'm Tonya.
I'm Raghava.
I'm Alex.
And today we have our second guest. We have Kevin Keane from Rate Mortgage. Welcome, Kevin.
Woo!
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm flattered to be guest number 2.
Hell yeah.
Would have liked to have been guest number 1, but
Well, you were doing world travels, which we'll get
right.
into, so
Okay.
that wasn't an option.
You're here now.
Yeah, I'm here now.
Yeah, definitely.
So what are we talking about?
Well, tell us a little about you.
Okay, so my name is
Little.
Kevin.
We know Kevin very long.
Yeah, that's right. You guys have known me a long time. So my name is Kevin Keane, and I work for Rate Mortgage. We used to be Guaranteed Rate, and about a year and a half ago, they just dropped the word guaranteed. Now we're not guaranteeing anything, but you're going to have a good time with us.
Damn right.
I have personally have been in the mortgage industry for 28 years. In fact, when I started in the industry, I had hair gel in my medicine cabinet.
Oh, I don't think you need it anymore now. Well, you could get a little bit of a shine if you wanted to.
And my office is located in Madison, New Jersey. However, I live in Monmouth County. I don't know. What else would you like to know? Let's see. I'm married 32 years. Coming up on 33. Oh, it's 33 years next month.
Congratulations.
That's amazing, man.
I have 2 kids, and they're slowly coming off of the Keane payroll.
Nice.
Very slowly,
Okay.
but eventually at some point, they'll probably be on my cell phone plan forever. I don't know when that actually occurs, but whatever, I don't care. I'll just be happy when I'm not subsidizing both of them for lots of stuff. But regardless,
Yeah.
I'm very happy with my kids.
You're blessed.
I'm blessed, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm blessed in general.
Yeah.
I feel like the luckiest guy on the planet.
Definitely.
We all have life's burdens. I'm not immune to them.
Definitely.
I just don't let them weigh me down.
Good
That's
motto to
all.
live by. Good
Yeah,
motto.
yeah. Like I could bore you with my tale of woe, but we all have it,
Exactly.
and it's and I don't mean to diminish anyone else's tale or their burden.
Definitely.
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I'm basically saying we all have them, and I recognize that, but just got to keep.
So what's like your mindset, like on how you approach every single day? When you wake up, what are you doing? To put
I'm
yourself
usually
into that
waiting for my wife to bring me coffee in bed.
state.
Wow. That's a good one.
But
She's
you ever-
a keeper.
Does she bring an omelet too, or just coffee?
She'll like this morning. She brought me a toasted Pop-Tart because she knows I like strawberry Pop-Tarts.
Brown.
I'm not
cinnamon
joking
sugar,
either.
cinnamon
My wife
sugar
brings me
ones,
coffee
yeah,
in
the
bed
brown
almost
sugar.
every morning. I reciprocate.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not a one-way street with me.
Nice.
I realize how good I have it. I'm the guy that does the grocery shopping. I do all the laundry. I load and empty the
Oh, I hope my
dishwasher.
husband's
I hate
listening.
laundry. man.
Please,
You know,
Ron,
so
do you hear
so
this?
it's not. I'm not like the king. It's just one of the nice perks that I enjoy is that my wife brings me coffee in bed virtually every single morning.
That's beautiful.
That is.
And it is
Yeah.
such a nice perk.
Uh-huh.
She knows exactly how, and I'm so finicky because some days I want a little bit of sugar. Then after a week I'll be like, all right, no more sugar, and then she'll remember not to bring sugar, and then I'll
And
be
then
like,
you
okay,
want
look-
sugar then?
I go back and forth, I got to mix it up a little bit so she knows. She'll even ask, Kev, a little sugar or none? I'm like, a little bit of sugar.
Nice.
So you want to tell everybody why you couldn't make it last week?
Because my wife and I totally spur of the moment decided, let's go to Italy to the Winter Olympics. And when I say spur of the moment, I woke up, true story, I woke up on a Monday morning. We were going to Mexico in 2 days. Yeah. I'm
That
not
was
su-
already a book trip?
Oh, that trip was already booked.
Ah.
Woke up and I saw an ad on social media for the Summer Olympics. They're in 2028. And I'm like, wait a second. Don't they alternate where the winter and summer? I'm like, that must mean the Winter Olympics must be coming up like really soon. It's 2026
It's like every
already.
2 years that
Yeah.
they swap back and forth.
So I quickly Googled it and I was like, holy cow, they're starting in like 4 weeks and they're going to be in Italy. I said to my wife, she was laying in bed next to me. I'm like, do you want to go to the Olympics? They're in Italy. She's like, let's do it.
Who would say no?
Yeah,
No, I don't want
And
to.
by the way, let's just pause for a moment and acknowledge the fact that my wife Fran, she is my biggest cheerleader, and if you ask her, she'll tell you. Has Kevin ever had a bad idea? She'll tell you no.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with that,
Okay.
but I've made some impulsive decisions in my life. Okay, and I always bounce things off of her, and she's like, yeah, let's just do it. Like, it's sometimes not even a 30-second conversation. So it's important that you marry somebody that supports you. And that doesn't mean really make reckless decisions, but somebody who sees your vision
And
and
supports
doesn't
you.
thwart you.
Right.
And instead of saying no, that sounds too risky, says, nah, let's go for it.
Right.
She's always been like that.
That's
I think that's why you're so positive too, because that energy and her belief in you kind of pushes you to keep moving
Probably.
forward, right?
And honestly, I don't know that it's always warranted.
Uh-huh.
I think I've made some dubious decisions.
Everyone does.
But she has never, ever once in 33 years said, that was a dumb idea. She's never said that. I've
awesome.
usually said it to her after the fact. I'm like, that was a stupid idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. So I woke up and I saw that the Olympics were in Italy. And I'm like, holy crap, we should go. Quickly Googled. I can still get tickets to the opening ceremony.
So cool.
So then I'm like, all right, let's see. Airfare? All right, we're going to have to take a couple of connecting flights. But I can live with that. That's not bad. All right, now let's check the hotel rooms. Not bad.
Okay.
Not bad. And then I said to her, but you know what? I don't want to go just for the Olympics. Let's do some other stuff while we're there. So, okay, Venice. Venice is only 2.5 hours from Milan. Let's see when I get in Venice. Let's go to Venice too. And then I started thinking, I've always heard of Prague. It's always supposed to be a beautiful city. I literally opened up Google Maps on my phone. I wanted to see how far it was. I'm like, all right, we could fly there. Okay? So let's go to Prague too. So all within 24 hours, I had airfare, hotels, and tickets secured for everything
That's
for an
crazy.
11-day trip.
Oh.
And then we went to Mexico.
And you
my
went to Mexico
God.
too?
Oh yeah. Well, then I went to. Well, the Mexico trip was always planned.
Okay.
And turned out to be one of my most favorite vacations to date.
Oh,
It was the
man.
coolest thing in the world. I always loved the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. I just did. I love the
Yeah.
pomp and circumstance.
Definitely.
The
The culture too, right?
Oh my
it's
God,
so
yeah.
unique, especially
Yeah.
when the one that I really remember is the one from I think it was 2012, the Beijing Olympics.
Yeah,
that one was really cool.
That
They had
was
like
really-
all the drummers
that
and
was
everything
wild.
too.
That was wild. And so now when I bought our tickets to the opening ceremony, the down low tickets were like crazy in the thousands. So I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the uppermost ring at the very top for like they were $260 a piece. I'm like, I can live with that. I just want to be in the venue. I'm good. As long as I'm inside, I'm good. Because then I get to say I did this.
Absolutely.
And but they don't give you your seat assignment until 48 hours before. You're just looking at a color-coded section.
Oh.
So you have no idea where in that upper ring you're going to be. I'm like, whatever. I don't care.
Which was the favorite sport you got to see?
I have not finished my story
I was
about the
gonna
ring.
say,
Sorry.
How dare you? How dare you?
Alex. I was
Because
like,
I'm-
we're
because I'm
mid-story,
getting-
and you're like,
I'm getting to the best part.
Okay.
Okay.
48
I'll
hours
tell you when
before,
to talk.
I get the notification, okay, you're in section 104. And I'm like, oh, 104. Oh, they must do it different in Italy. Maybe like 100 is way up there and 400 is down there. You know, they go backwards. Whereas we know, because in America, section 100 would be right there. We get to the venue. Of course, it's like mobbed. A photographer from the New York Times takes my picture while I'm waiting for my wife to come out of the
That's
ladies'
so
room.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr.
Did you
Celebrity.
find yourself on the New
I
York Times
tried to
website?
find myself. I haven't
Okay.
found myself yet. So then we go to one of the ushers, and I'm like, and I'm looking at the spiral ramp that you take to the top, and I'm like, can you just tell me, like, is this the right ramp? He's like, no, you're in this way. I'm like, right here? Like, I'm not going up there? He's like, no, you go right through here. We were lowest level. I have no idea
That's
how they decided
incredible.
that.
Yeah.
I have maybe maybe they didn't sell all the seats up top and they wanted to fill in the bottom, and yours truly just got lucky.
Or didn't sell the seats at the bottom. So
Maybe they
brought
knew
seats
from
the
your,
top down.
Maybe.
Like, so it looked
yeah. You know, I hadn't
busier.
thought about that. You know, listen, I don't profess to really think things through. You know, math was not my strong suit.
I would be
It
like
never
your
has
wife.
been.
It was a great idea
neither.
how you said it.
But what? Andrea Bocelli is singing right in front of us.
That's crazy.
That's so cool.
And I can tell you, having never experienced opera live before, I understand why it brings people to tears. Holy shit.
Powerful.
Was it just emotion, right?
Oh my
the
God.
energy behind it.
Yeah, he's singing as they're bringing out the Olympic torch. It was the coolest thing ever. Now,
Wait,
let's answer
before he goes, I want you to see. Do you know who this is?
Yeah, the most interesting man in the world, or
Okay.
something like that.
Well, I vote that he is replaced by one Kevin Keane, the most interesting man in Oregon. So we put together a couple pictures of you over the years,
Oh my God.
being your fun self.
So that's you
Yeah.
all professional.
Yeah, that's
you
me
look
being
handsome, man. You
professional.
clean up really well.
Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
The same jacket?
But here's the same guy that we find in the
That was the phone party at a pool in Mexico.
the most interesting man in mortgage.
I
right?
would have probably chosen a different picture, but okay, it's your experience, not mine. Oh my God!
Where was this one? What was that?
That
Nobody
was.
Do you even
can
remember?
resist
We had to
you.
go back. We
Yeah.
went back a
Nobody can
I'm
while.
glad you included my man boobs in there too. That's nice. Jesus Christ! And I was probably 12 years younger in that picture. Can you imagine what this body looks like now? Oh my God! That chest hair is definitely not black.
It's all about the love you're getting.
Yeah, and I do remember that because
Even
his
the
breath
porpoise.
was awful.
Yeah, them like walruses, unfortunately, themselves stink too.
And I've done things way cooler than that. Mm-hmm. I went swimming with whale sharks.
But this
yeah.
one,
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I
like
look
this.
pretty
we
badass
like this one a
there.
lot. Yeah.
So for
you're a
those of you that
firefighter
don't know,
too,
I'm
right?
also a firefighter, and I love it. I've always loved being a firefighter.
You're still active in it?
You better believe that. Of
Okay.
course I am.
Awesome.
I love the adrenaline rush of going into a fire. No joke.
Definitely.
Okay.
Well, thank you for your service in that.
Much
Oh, you're
appreciated.
welcome for my
Absolutely.
service.
I had
What
no,
township do you
I had
serve?
no idea.
Freehold Township.
Freehold?
We're
Okay.
we're a volunteer fire company. We are one of the busiest unpaid fire departments in the state of New Jersey. Did you know that only about 25% of all fire departments nationwide are paid? The other 75% are volunteer. And I'll stack us up against any firehouse any day of the week. We train like mad.
Right.
Much to my chagrin. Sometimes it's a little bit much. But listen, you don't train for fire alarms. You train for the real thing. And I, of course, like the real thing. You
Right.
know, it's I don't really like car accidents that much because you know sometimes they're not that nice.
Right.
But I go to them. I respond to everything. I work with a great bunch of guys, men and women. It's mostly guys. Yeah, Freehold Township, Station 16-1.
Shout
Everything,
them out.
yeah, everything west of Route 9. That's us.
I'm guessing you've saved a couple people from fires then?
Have I ever had a grab? Me personally, no. And that's what that's called, in case you didn't know that. No. Fortunately, I mean, I have been in situations where
sad
people
Yeah.
didn't get out. But I have never personally had a grab. I would love to. I think it's every firefighter's dream is to, you
That's
know.
pictures. Keep going through.
Yeah.
Grabbing stuff. Thanks, Alex. Again.
Yeah. No, but I'm also curious. Do firehouses still have like the pole in the middle? Like you know.
Some do.
Some
We
do.
don't.
You
You know,
don't?
that's like a real old school
Old school
thing.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
When the housing was your sleeping quarters were up on the second floor.
Got it.
We don't have that because remember we're volunteers.
Right.
So
Right.
we're not sleeping there. Although now we have guys doing what they call duty crews, where guys are working shifts, staying overnight, just so we can get a truck out within 60 seconds.
Oh, wow. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
amazing.
So what are like the different roles? I always see that there's, especially with like the longer fire trucks, there's a driver in the front, and there's a guy steering in the back. What's the guy doing up there? I've always been
that's
curious.
called a tiller.
Tiller,
Okay?
okay.
And a tiller is considered what we call a truck. Okay, there's engines, and there's trucks, and then there's heavy rescues. Now, I'm qualified on all three. Okay, an engine is literally your proverbial fire engine. It carries anywhere from as little as 1,100 gallons to as much as 3,000 gallons of water. You know you have a confirmed structure fire. That's the first thing you're sending out the door. They're going to start hitting the fire. Now, they're going to run out of water in about 4 minutes if they're pumping.
From the truck.
Yeah, exactly. The idea is the second engine arrives on scene a few minutes later, and that second engine's job is to connect to the hydrant and then connect from their pump to that engine, so that now you have a continuous flow of water. Okay, but that's why, you know, the first engine out the door, they're called first due. They're flowing water right from their truck
Immediately. Okay.
That thing you asked about, that really long thing. Okay, so we don't have one of those. That's called a tiller.
Okay.
We do have a ladder truck. Okay, tillers are really common. You're going to see them more so in urban areas, cities where the streets are really tight, where a long piece of apparatus can't make that normal turn.
Got
A
it.
tiller. That's
So
what
it
the guy
turns
in the
the
back
back
seat.
wheels too.
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
He's steering from the back.
Very cool.
So that they can make a turn in a tight situation.
That's
We don't have that situation in Freehold, so
Yeah,
there's no need.
So I live in Somerville, so they recently just built a new rescue center over there.
Uh-huh.
It's actually really very modern, very cool. They have like see-through garage doors and everything, so you can see all the trucks inside.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice, but they do have the trailer one over there. So
Tiller.
Tiller. Okay.
You'll never forget it now.
Yeah, no, I really won't. No, but it's really cool though because you have the guys turning up here and then he's turning up there. So Yeah.
That is really cool. I would love if we had a tiller,
Right.
because even as a kid, I thought they were the coolest things.
Oh, right.
And as an adult, I still think when I see a tiller, I get excited. I'm like, it's a tiller.
Ride it.
Yeah.
No, that's
You know,
awesome.
it's literally my favorite piece of apparatus, but we don't own one. So we have ladder trucks. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 engines. We have a tanker, and a ladder truck, heavy rescue, and then 2 brush trucks. And then we have
like the rescue
we have
squadrons.
like a utility truck, like a quasi, kind of keeps a little bit of everything on it. But our heavy rescue, we use that for motor vehicle accidents. All the apparatus has basic extrication tools. The heavy rescue has the heavy duty stuff, the airbags,
Got it.
where we can lift vehicles up. We can use airbags to pick a vehicle up 4 feet off the ground.
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's kind of cool.
That
That
is.
is.
But again, thank you for your service.
Yes.
Much appreciated.
You're welcome, man. I
To our
appreciate it.
next one.
Definitely.
Ever get
And then
too
there's a
far
cute
in the
photo of
fire,
you
I
and
know
Frank.
There we
We
are.
finish
Yeah.
it off with your Olympic picture.
Yeah. So we that's my wife, and we went to
I love
women's.
how you match.
Yeah, that was important. And listen, we're wearing our American flag hats. We have our rhinestone American flag pins. Somebody asked me, he's like, you know, you gonna wear like any American stuff over there? Because, you know, the Americans, Europeans, not really big fans of ours right now.
They don't perceive it.
But I said, listen. I said, of course I'm wearing my American stuff. I'm there to represent America.
Isn't
man.
that what the Olympics are about?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bullshit
Exactly.
going on. It's
Exactly.
Yeah.
All
I
the
wasn't
cultures
shy about it.
together.
I was riding the metro with all my American shit on. I'm like, yeah.
Absolutely.
And you know what? Nobody gives you any looks. If they were giving me looks, I am so wrapped up in my own head. I'm not even paying attention.
Did not even notice.
I am more like, I'm one of those guys, I always have situational awareness. My wife sits on the train. I stand near her. I got my wallet in my front pocket. I'm up against the pole, and I got one hand on my phone. So nobody's pickpocketing me or anything. You know,
Right.
You're gonna have to get up
prepared.
pretty early to get over on me. But everybody's super chill.
Nice.
You know,
Awesome.
Everybody's
Yeah,
super
this was
chill.
such a nice picture.
What were some of the sports that you guys checked out?
Uh,
Yeah, we
we-
never heard your favorite sport yet.
My favorite
There you
sport
go.
was curling. We went to men's. We went to the. Yeah, so funny story. Not so funny
It's not something you're
story.
going to see, though, so I would definitely be interested in
Well,
that.
when I was telling my friends, then I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to the Olympics with my wife." They're like, "Oh, you got to go see curling." I'm like,
I would.
"Okay, I listen.
That would have been my reaction too.
I can't say I'm a huge fan, but I was like, okay, we're gonna go to curling. Now, here's the funny story, and this is like where when you fly by the seat of your pants, you sometimes make mistakes. I buy tickets to a curling event, and the curling started at 4 p.m. and I know it's only going for 2 hours. The opening ceremony, I bought it. The curling event was taking place the same day as the opening ceremony. Opening ceremony was, I want to say 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Something like that. Either 6 or 8, whatever. But I thought, okay, well, that's okay. There's enough of a gap there. We can get over to the thing. I didn't realize curling was taking place in Cortina, Italy, 3.5 hours away.
Oh, surprise.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't do all of my research. And by the way, when you do too much research, you suffer from paralysis by analysis.
Absolutely.
When you do it my way, you just start buying shit and figure it out later, okay? So
We paid for it. We're going.
yeah. So I said, okay, we clearly cannot go to curling because I can't be 3.5 hours away and get back to Milan in time for the opening ceremony. And I'm not missing the opening ceremony. So I put them back on the Olympics website, their marketplace, secondary market. Somebody bought them right away. I'm like, all right, it's cool. I think I lost $10. Okay.
There you go.
Oh,
Worked
yeah.
out.
Listen, I was willing to eat the entire cost of the ticket. I didn't care. Okay?
Wasn't going.
I wasn't going. Fast forward. All right, so now we're there in Milan for a couple of days. Now we're headed to Venice. But I'm still kind of bumming about not going to curling. Okay? And then I look on my Google Nav, and I'm like, you know what? Cortina is only 2.5 hours north of Venice. And I'm like, Venice is a beautiful city, by the way. If you've never been, it is like, you almost can't believe this is a real city. It is wild.
How was the pizza?
I didn't have any pizza.
Oh, really?
No, I can get pizza here. Okay, we had some unbelievable meals, by the way.
Nice.
I digress. Don't get me distracted. We do that a lot.
Yes.
We had a guided tour scheduled for like a 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, and it was going until like noon. And I called my hotel the day before, and I was like, look, I said, I want to go to Cortina, but I cannot work out the logistics of the train. We had taken a train from Milan to Venice. That was easy. But getting up to Cortina, that was posing a challenge. So I said, can you get me a driver? He's like, calls me back. He's like, no problem, Mr. Keane. I got you covered. All right. What's it going to cost me? It's going to be $500 for the driver plus $80 an hour or 80 euro an hour for every hour he waits while he's there.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I'm doing the math. I'm like, all right, this is going to cost like $900.
Oh,
And then I jump on the Olympics website. I'm like, I can get 2 tickets to the championship round, mixed doubles playing for gold. America playing against Sweden. I'm like, can you imagine if we're there and they're playing the national anthem? We have to go.
Right.
So I was like, all right, get the driver. Have him pick us up at the hotel at 2:00. Thing doesn't start till 6. I mean, this is going to work out fantastic, and it absolutely did.
Right.
It was definitely by far the single most expensive day of our trip. It probably cost me about $1,400 when it was all said and done.
Man.
And America only won silver. We lost to Sweden on the final match. I still don't even understand how the rules of curling work because we were ahead going into it. And then we lost by 1 point at the last second. I'm like, whatever, this is bullshit. And I'm like, I'm out of here. I don't need to wait around for the flag raising ceremony to listen to the Swedish national anthem because I don't even know what it sounds like. So I'm not sticking around for it. Whatever, we're out of here. And that was it. That was our Olympic story. And then the next day we went to Prague, which is a beautiful city. Beautiful city. That's all. That's all I got on that. So that's that picture.
And
Why
then you
don't
were-
we get to some mortgage information here?
Oh, should we talk about what I actually do for a living? Okay.
Selling the garden state.
Yeah. Listen, I can't afford these trips if you guys don't send me mortgage business, all right?
Exactly. I gotta
All
keep
right.
you going here.
Okay. What do
I
you
have
want to
a-
know?
I have a question before we get to mortgage.
Boy.
You're a successful guy. I want to know what the number one indicator you look for that someone's going to be successful.
It's a good question.
Oh, you
It
know
is.
that. Oh, look at you with the good question. Holy cow. So okay, this is a really good question because I'm thinking of somebody specific that Vinny knows, and young guy. I met him when he was in college. He was working for Vin, and very successful realtor, and his name is Dan. He's relocated to North Carolina. He's not doing real estate. He's doing real estate photography. This is a guy that literally moved to a new city, knew nobody, so he had no connections. while he was obtaining his realtor's license, he decided, well, I still need to make money. I can't wait, for life to happen. And he, as a hobby, he did photography. So he decided, you know what, let me just go and knock on doors at all these real estate offices, and I'll just undercut the competition just a little bit, okay? And within his first year, he made like 80 grand. And by his second year, in a city where he knew nobody, remember, he had no connections, he was already hitting 150 grand a year as a real estate photographer.
Good for him.
And it's not because, yeah, he's a hustler, but I don't mean like in your face, that kind. He was very personable, and he still is. He's a very genuine, likable person, and he's real, okay? And I recognize that in him right away. Just a very nice person. He's the kind of person that you want to like him. You want to be friends with him because he's such a nice guy.
Right.
And his success in business is absolutely a result of that. And the reason I say I just thought about him recently is that one of my realtors is an instructor for a real estate school. And she has me speak to her students. Seems like it's probably about 4 times a year. She'll have an incoming class. And right before they're getting ready to take their real estate test, she asks me to speak for about 2 hours, which is a real struggle for me, as you can tell.
Yeah, must be difficult.
And we do it over Zoom. And I basically, my job is to give them the quick 30,000-foot view of mortgages. I tell them, my goal is not to make you a mortgage expert. That's my job. You're going to have a hard enough time being really good at being a realtor. I said, let me just give you the basic overview. And then I also kind of follow up with, hey, by the way, if you want to grow your business, don't think it's going to be as easy what you see on TV. You have to do all these things to be successful. And one of them I talk about is being an active participant in your community, okay? And you have to promote yourself. But there was a young guy in this class who asked a lot of questions, but not in like an irritating or annoying way. He genuinely, a very genuine person. And I even said to him at the end of the class, I said, you're going to be successful as long as you maintain that personality. I said, because the one thing I've learned in all sales, but especially what we do, is that at the end of the day, I could have the lowest rate, way lower than everybody else. But you know what? That means I'm only going to do business with people who are just looking for the cheapest guy on the street. The people I tend to do business with are the people that want to do business with me because they gel with me, they like me, and they realize what I have to offer. Because the truth is, you talk to 3 lenders, we're all going to be around the same interest rate, okay? So really what a client should be looking for is not only who are they going to mesh with, who do they personally like, okay? But just as important, if not more important, is who's going to deliver. Don't promise the moon and stars and not deliver.
If you had to boil it down to 3 words, the ones that I'm thinking of are curious, ambitious, and motivated. Would you say those are accurate?
100%. 100%.
I feel like a good backer word is also authenticity.
Authenticity. I was going to say, let's add a 4th word.
Yeah.
Because you have to be authentic. You have to be real. People, conscious or subconsciously, see through fakeness.
Absolutely.
And
Sniff it out.
Yeah. And the other thing, and this is one of the things I tell realtors, is that you have to be authentic, but you also have to be an expert in your field. Okay? Because as soon as they get a hint that you're talking to a client, and as soon as they get the vibe that they might know more than you, thanks to ChatGPT, you're toast.
Right.
Okay? You have to be an expert. You as a realtor, you are a resource for these clients. That's why my company, Rate Mortgage, that's why even though we're actually one of the largest lenders in the United States, the average consumer has never heard of us. But we're literally one of the biggest. You can Google that, okay? How come the average consumer hasn't heard of us? We don't market to the consumers. We market to you guys because we recognized early on that when somebody wakes up and decides, today's the day I'm going to start shopping for a house, they don't think about calling their mortgage guy.
Right.
They call you the realtor.
Yeah.
You are the hub. I'm just a spoke. All the business flows from you guys. And that's why we market our services to you. Now, of course, I have to treat your client with a high level of professionalism and accuracy and respect. That goes without saying, because I am a representation of you. If I do anything at all where the deal goes sideways, I run the risk of making you look bad. You'll never refer another client to me. So I don't just have to keep them happy. I have to keep you happy also. And I tell this to your clients. I love first-time buyers. They have 1,000,001 questions. And the one thing I always tell them is, hey, you know what? There's a lot of questions you probably don't even know you're supposed to be asking. Don't worry. I'm going to tell you about that stuff too. I literally walk them through the whole process and what to expect. I give them the worst-case scenario, best-case scenario. I don't know.
People appreciate that, like you said, realism and authenticity. Because they don't, you're excited to go for your first house.
Yeah.
And somebody's telling you can get the moon, the stars, and everything above. And you're like, yeah. And then the reality is you can't. You're heartbroken. Because you were expecting so much more. So being real and being like you could have this or this. Let's see how it goes is like just important to people.
Well, once I've finished doing somebody's pre-approval, oftentimes, they'll say, well, maybe they wanted to get pre-approved to buy something. We'll just say $500,000. And, okay, all right, yeah, no problem. We're good. And they're like, well, how high could I go? Well, let's say they're, high earners, and they clearly could afford more. And I tell them, I'm like, I could qualify you for probably a lot more than you're comfortable with. Do you want a $7,000 a month mortgage payment? Because I could probably go that high. No, I don't want that. I'm like, okay, so let's just kind of focus on reality. Like if your comfort level is you don't want your payment all in, taxes and insurance, not to exceed X. If X is $4,000 a month, let's work our way into that payment. We'll back our way into it, figure out how much money do you have to put down. This is what your price range should be. The other thing I always tell them is that, when people start their home search, it generally starts with price range, geography, and then the wants and needs. I'd like a fireplace, or I must have a fireplace, or I must have a garage, must have a basement. Those things. But I always tell them, when you kind of zero in on that, make sure you're drilling into the details, because property taxes can make or break that monthly budget. Oh, yeah. You could have
Especially in New Jersey.
two identically priced houses, two different towns. Well, one of them, the taxes are $9,000. The other town, they're $15,000. Yeah. If it's a condo or a townhouse, how much is that HOA? Those are the things that are going to have a direct impact on your monthly budget, more so than the price of the house. Do you know, like $1,000 up or down on the mortgage payment, that only adds or deducts $6 to your payment. It's
not a lot.
Rarely, and rates are coming down, so it's getting more affordable.
Definitely.
So where do you see our spring market going?
Honest answer is that I
Please.
think, yeah. No, I'm already seeing a huge uptick. Okay, we're starting to reach what we call equilibrium in the market, where you're seeing an equal number of houses matching up with an equal number of buyers. And that makes for a very successful market. It also makes for a market where everybody's happy. Buyers and sellers. Buyers are able to buy houses now. Sellers are able to sell their house. So you should start seeing that. I'm sure you already have.
Yeah,
I
past
agree
couple
100%.
open houses have been pretty busy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're looking for that equilibrium. And if you've been doing this as long as I have, what you'll notice is that window of equilibrium, that's a very brief window. This entire market is,
Up and down.
it is the nature of what we do. It's the nature of what we do. But that even point, enjoy it while it lasts, because it doesn't last. It's not meant to last.
For sure. So here's a common question that I get from a lot of my buyers. So say they're doing a conventional loan, right? Is it better for them to put a down payment of 5% or save up until they have 20%? Is that really going to make a difference in what they get with their monthly payments?
Okay, so that's a really good question. my own opinion, I'll do 5% all day long.
Okay.
First of all, and I demonstrate this to people, that a couple of things. I show them difference in payment. Well, let's say we'll use $500,000 as the price point.
Okay.
Well, 5% down is 25 grand. Okay, 20% down is 100,000. Unless mom and dad are stepping up to the plate, the average
First time.
buyer,
Yeah.
you know how long it's going to take them to save up that other 75,000.
Right.
You know, for them to do that, they might be putting off homeownership for another 3 or 4 years. And meanwhile, they've missed out on the opportunity to actually buy a house. The other thing that I commonly hear is like, well, I don't want to pay PMI. Look, the PMI in today's environment, PMI, if you don't know, stands for Private Mortgage Insurance. It's not the same PMI that your parents paid when they bought a house, okay? If you want to know how I get pricing for PMI, I literally click 2 buttons, okay? I go to price up a loan. Somebody's putting down, whether it's 5, 10, or 15%. I press a button. I pull quotes from 6 different insurance companies instantly. I have no loyalty to any of them. I literally, the very first one, all the way over on the left, they're going to be the cheapest. That's the one I'm going with. Okay, that's it. My goal is to make sure that the client gets the lowest payment possible. So why would I'm just picking the cheapest insurance company. PMI is priced according to your credit score, your percentage down. Somebody putting 5% down is going to pay a little bit more PMI than somebody putting 15% down. But also debt to income ratio. So if your debt ratio is over 45%, you're going to pay a higher premium than somebody under 45%, regardless of your credit score.
Because you're considered more at risk, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all it's all risk-based pricing. But the bottom line is that if somebody comes to me with real high credit scores, low ratios, and they can afford that payment at 5% down, I'm going to advise them to perhaps consider just putting a smaller down payment, because maybe that house that they're buying, I don't care if it was just built 6 months ago, they're going to find a way to dump a bunch of money into it. And God forbid it needs to be renovated. They're definitely going to want to update things. The bathroom and kitchen might be fully functional, but maybe they were built in the 1990s. So don't put all your money into the down payment when it's not going to have a huge impact on your overall monthly payment. Hold that money back. That's what I would do.
Understood.
And I always give people advice based on exactly how I would do it.
Awesome.
I like that.
That was a really good response.
Thank you.
Another backup question that I do have. So me and my clients, we just went under contract, and you were their primary lender. You're the one that did the pre-approval. All right. What are some key things that they shouldn't do once they're under contract?
Oh, good question. And I always assume that this is common sense, common knowledge, but I'm finding out it not always is.
Definitely.
That's not the time to go open up a new credit card or go charge a bunch of new furniture for the new house. Okay? Definitely don't go out and lease a new car. I actually once said this to somebody, or they said it to me. I said, hey, I did his pre-approval, and the debt ratio was like right at the upper limit. I'm like, look, do not go out and buy a new car. He's like, oh no, I was going to lease one.
Hey.
Exactly. I'm like, that would actually be 10 times worse, but don't do that either. I said, if your car is breaking down, pay to have it fixed. Once you buy the house, you can do whatever you want.
You do you.
Okay? But don't, you're taking on a monthly obligation. Don't do that. The other piece of advice I tell people is don't co-sign for anybody. Definitely don't co-sign for a boyfriend or girlfriend, because they will always let you down. Always. They will always disappoint you.
That's hilarious.
Always. And your credit will be ruined because of some guy that you broke up with a year ago, and you don't even know how to get in touch with him. He stopped making the car payments, and you're paying the price for it. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Say no.
Just say no. Yeah.
Say no to peer pressure.
So yeah, don't accumulate any new debt. That goes without saying. Now, I do get this other question asked of me. Well, what about changing jobs? That is a more challenging question to answer because there are circumstances where it's perfectly fine changing jobs. If you're leaving one salaried position to another one, presuming that it pays equal or more, completely fine.
We had that happen actually one time. Remember 40 Winston, our clients over there?
No, but I
No?
believe you. and is that what happened?
Yeah, exactly. The
Yeah.
wife, she got a new job, but she was making more, so we were like, oh, this helps us
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Now, let me give you some circumstances where that's not a good thing. Okay. I'm going to pick on car salesmen for a moment because it's the first one that comes to mind because I've actually had this situation. Now, car salesmen, in case you don't know, that industry tends to it seems like they lean towards a lot of transient. They'll go literally from one dealership to the next, and then they'll go back to that dealership they were at.
Then
Then they'll try another dealer.
That is 100%.
Is it true? Okay, thank you.
I used to say it's like incestuous.
Yeah, they seem to bounce around.
Yes.
Okay, now they're W-2 employees, but their income is derived from commissioned sales. So if they're not selling cars, they're not getting commission. But regardless, when you're commissioned sales, you need to have been with that employer for a minimum of 12 months for us to effectively calculate your income. Even if you have, now, you might have a 10-year history of being with a car dealership, and then you leave there, and now you go to this other dealership. I have no history. I might have the history over here, but I don't know how you're going to do over here. And understand, these rules are not mine. As far as I'm concerned, you have a pulse, you're qualified. Underwriters, they tend to enforce these rules called guidelines. They say, no, you have to have a history. You have to have a history. That's always, so especially if I'm doing a pre-approval for somebody who's, in car sales, I tell them, I'm like, listen, if you can avoid, no matter how much you may not like it at that dealership, try to stay there until you buy your house, okay? Because it really could upset the apple cart if you move on to something else. Hourly employees, again, perfectly fine, but there's a caveat to that. Let's say that, I'll give you an example, guy's working for a construction company, making good money, getting a lot of overtime, okay? Now he's going to another company, all right? Maybe he's getting a higher hourly rate, but not so much overtime. I can't use any of the overtime that I may have used to qualify him at the previous job. I can't use any of that overtime for qualifying purposes because, again, I have no history of this person getting paid overtime with his current employer.
Now, let me ask a question to follow up on that. Can you use overtime if he didn't switch jobs, if he had stayed at the original job? Because overtime isn't guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed.
So you would still be able to use, even though it could be taken away next week?
100%. If they can demonstrate a 2-year history, it doesn't have to be overtime every week. We just need to see, okay, this person, he's worked overtime last year, maybe it was a few weeks out of the year, a few months. Looks like he's worked. We're looking at his pay stub, and we can see year to date he's got some overtime in there. We're going to take a conservative average, but absolutely we can use overtime for qualifying purposes.
All right, interesting. Thank you.
Got a lot of tricks up our sleeve.
Definitely.
What do you guys feel about getting a turnpike talk? Or you got some?
I have one more question
As
too.
do I.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Alex, you can
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
What sets you aside from the competition? I know you mentioned that it's a really competitive market, but what makes you guys stand out?
Okay, so let's first talk about my company in general, Rate Mortgage, in case you guys didn't catch that. Our technology is light years ahead of everybody. Yes, all lenders now have an app. We're working on the app 2.0 that we rolled out last year. It is stunningly intuitive. And what I mean by that is that your client can apply for a mortgage from their phone. Depending on how they're employed, okay, we have the ability to verify their income without actually seeing a pay stub. We can also verify their assets the same way. our system will use AI to underwrite a file, and we'll actually issue a conditional approval. All that'll all happen instantaneously, literally within minutes of the time they complete their application.
That is very cool.
It's shocking how fast. I can now take an application and I can actually have it underwritten, issue a commitment the same day or the next day. There's not a lot of lenders that can say that.
Right.
And that's not a one-off. That is now our typical way of doing business.
You might have to put the guarantee back in the name.
I can vouch because I think it was last year with my daughter's house. We got them in from applying to closing, and I think it was like 2 weeks and like 3 days.
Oh, that's nothing.
Like,
Yeah. Kev did
No,
it.
I'm saying
you
that's what I'm saying.
remember-
Like, it's definitely the
thank
technology
you.
is there, and it's lightning
Yeah.
fast.
Our technology is insane. Every aspect of it. Where, for example, if they're putting like 10% down, this application, when they do it, it'll automatically be uploaded to both Fannie and Freddie's underwriting operating systems. And I've gotten appraisal waivers on deals where it happens so fast, I haven't even had a chance to look at the application. And I'm already being told, yeah, we don't need an appraisal.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, really awesome.
That is.
So that's why somebody should use my company. Now, why should somebody use me?
He's hilarious.
Look in the camera. Tell the camera.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, and all of my agents know this. So if you're an agent and you're not getting this level of service from your mortgage lender, we should talk, okay? Because I answer my phone 7 days a week. It doesn't matter where on the planet I am, and these people will vouch for that.
That is
Yeah.
a true
I
story.
always answer my phone. If by chance you go to voicemail, that just means I'm on the phone with one of your peers, and I will be calling you right back. Our speed, our service, my attention to detail. If I issue a pre-approval to your client, that is money in the bank. Okay, you can take that to the bank because let's face it, as realtors, that's your prime. You have enough hurdles you have to clear, from attracting clients to getting an offer accepted to getting it to the closing table. There are so many tripwires in every step of that process. My job is to try and remove the finance piece. Like, I don't ever want the mortgage to be any stressor for you guys. I want that to be a set it and forget it. Kevin Keane has it. I'm not worried about it.
Honestly, that is the vibe I get. Every time you're
Absolutely.
working one of my deals, it's like, loan I don't even got to worry about. I just show up for the appraisal, let the guy in.
Thank
We're
you.
good to go from there.
Thank you.
But I do have one more lender-related question.
Okay.
And it's a common question I get from my buyers again. It's for the credit score, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know typically that you guys recommend 620, right? Is that the guideline? Or
No, I
or are we out
recommend
on that?
780.
Of course.
I can live with this. I'll never
What's like the
recommend the
minimum?
620.
No, like what's the minimum? That's what I meant to say.
Okay, really good questions.
Yeah.
So for conventional lending, the minimum credit score is going to be a 620. But as I said a moment ago, I would like to see everybody have a 780 credit score.
Yeah.
Why 780? A, it's not that hard to get there, okay? But financing is cheaper. The cost of lending is cheaper. I don't make more money on a client with a 620 credit score. That's not how I'm compensated. I want to be the guy that delivers great news to everybody. I don't want to tell somebody that...
Like Santa Claus?
Yeah. I don't want to tell somebody who's a 640 credit score, well, you're paying this much because of your credit. I don't want to be that guy, but sometimes I don't set the guidelines. Again, if it was left up to me, you have a pulse, you're qualified, sign right here.
Right. So what are some things that a buyer can do to improve their credit score,
Well,
to bring it up?
I'm going to come to that,
Okay.
but I also want to clarify. We can go lower than a 620 with FHA financing. I can actually go down to a 550 credit score.
Wow.
They can do a 580. I can go down to a 580 credit score with a 3.5% down payment. Now, you're probably asking, well, what's an FHA loan? FHA is just like any other 30-year fixed conventional loan. The difference is it's insured by the federal government. And in a lot of circumstances, when I'm looking at somebody's application, depending on the percentage they're putting down, I may or may not recommend an FHA loan. An FHA loan might make more sense. You oftentimes are going to get a very competitive interest rate because FHA does not necessarily punish borrowers for lower interest rates. Somebody with a 780 credit score and a 640 credit score are probably going to quote them the same low interest rate. Whereas on conventional, somebody with a 780 and a 640 or 620, that guy at 620, they're paying a much, not only are they going to pay a higher interest rate, but if they're putting less than 20% down, the mortgage insurance is going to be monstrous. It's going to be enormous. Whereas FHA, it is a fixed factor regardless of the credit score, regardless of the down payment. As I say to everybody, it's not a one-size-fits-all. That's why, if you ask me what's my one pet peeve client? Ask me.
What's your one pet peeve?
Client.
Client.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When somebody calls up and they just want to know my rate.
They can just Google it, right?
Like I'll be happy to. I'll quote your rates all day. I'll just make one up. I don't know. Zero. Right. Zero sound good? I mean, I can't offer it to you, but it sounds good, right? That's a rate. Right. 0.0. There are so many things that go into determining one's interest rate. It's not just credit score. It could be the property type. Do you guys know that condominiums, if you're putting less than 25% down, you could have a great credit score, but if you're doing less than 25% down, there's going to be a hit to the rate. Fannie and Freddie put an adjustment in there for less than 25% down on condos.
I did not know that.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's why you come to me. I'll tell you all this stuff.
Absolutely.
Also, FHAs, they have great rates. And they're a really great tool for somebody, let's say they're, 680 credit score, 690 or 700. And they're only doing 5% down, and they're buying a single-family home. FHA might be the ideal option because they're going to get a nice low interest rate, and the mortgage insurance is actually going to be very reasonable as compared to what it would be for conventional. However, that same client comes to me and they're buying a condo. We got to slam the brakes on things. Why? Because condominiums have to be eligible for FHA financing. I go right to the FHA website. There's a lot of condo projects that are not eligible for FHA.
And typically that's because of lawsuits, different improvements.
No, it has nothing to do with that. That's a whole separate issue.
Okay.
That's going to be in hour 3. We'll talk about that. No, what it is that FHA, this does not apply to single-family homes or even multifamilies. But condominiums, the project has to be approved by FHA. That requires typically a lender to submit reams of documentation to get the project approved, okay? And that approval is not in perpetuity. It usually has a 3-year expiration. You can go to if you literally Google FHA condo lookup, you'll see what I'm talking about. And you can narrow the field, search by zip code to see what condo projects in your area are eligible. You can search by the name, the town, whatever. But there's a button at the bottom, and it defaults to the word all. If you don't change that, you have to change it to only approved. Because if you just do a search for all, you're going to pull up every condo development, including the ones that were rejected or the ones that were expired. It might be a condo that used to be approved for FHA financing and expired 4 years ago, and nobody ever bothered getting it approved again. Right. So condos, a little trickier. Generally, I'm going to say we usually have to go conventional because I will, if somebody's credit score is not that good, I'm going to look to see, all right, let's see if it's eligible for FHA. And if it's not, it's what it is.
Got it. And then just to that last part, so say someone does have a 620 credit score and they want to bring it up a little bit higher. What are some key things that they can do in order to achieve that?
Sure. Okay. So I think everybody understands, first and foremost, pay your stuff on time. Okay? On time means don't be more than 30 days late from the due date. So if your credit card is due on the 15th of February and you pay it late, you're going to pay a late fee, but it's not going to show up as a late on a credit report unless they get that payment after March 15th. Okay? So pay things on time. Another one that is less obvious, but I've seen this oftentimes. In fact, I had a client last week. He only had a couple of credit cards, not huge balances, not huge limits. I think one credit card had like $1,000 limit. Another credit card had a $2,000 limit. Perfect payments on everything. But the one credit card had a $800 balance on it. The other card had a $1,200 balance, which means between the two cards, he had very little credit available to him. So even though he was paying on time, his his credit score was a 643, because he had, when somebody uses too much of their credit, it is an indication of an impending train crash. The ideal credit profile, in case you're wondering, is somebody who has access to tons of credit. I'll use myself as an example. I couldn't even tell you how many credit cards I have, okay? But I only use 2, and I pay them in full every month. Obviously, I have my credits in the 800s, okay? But the ideal credit profile is somebody who has access to credit, but uses it on a very conservative basis.
No.
But uses it. You got to use it every month.
I've heard, I don't know if it's true or just like, something you hear, that you should keep it under half of what your credit limit is. Like if you
Absolutely.
have 1,000,
Absolutely.
you shouldn't use more than 500.
The real rule is don't exceed 30%.
30%, okay.
Use credit, especially if you're young, you're starting off. Don't use credit to go out and buy that really awesome stereo system. Do people still buy stereo systems? Probably not. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I just
It's
sounded like the
speaker
oldest
bars.
person
Yeah.
on the planet just now. Okay.
Well, you're the
Not
oldest
really,
person
it
in the
didn't
room.
faze me. So I was like, I don't know.
All right. So don't use that credit card to buy that waterbed.
We don't have those anymore either. Memory
Yeah.
foam now.
I tell people, use it to maybe pay for gas, okay, but pay the bill in full. Something that you would pay the bill in full next month anyway, okay. Use it for an emergency, but don't get crazy with the credit cards. Use them, but use them very conservatively.
Can you use it where you would use cash?
One of the
Just
rules. I was
cash to the
watching. I was watching a news segment today, and they were talking about the price of cars and affordability. And there's like virtually no cars under 20,000 anymore. One of the rules that I've always followed, and this is just my own person. Okay, you do however you see fit.
You do you.
I have just chosen to never finance a car for more than 4 years. And if it means that I can't afford that payment, if the payment's too big because I'm trying to keep it within 4 years, that means I can't afford that car.
Right.
So my rule of thumb is if I cannot afford that payment in a 4-year time frame, I have to buy a cheaper car. And I personally think that's a good way to keep somebody in check, because somebody if they're not thinking about that, and the dealership says, hey, don't worry about it. You want that car? You want that BMW?
Got you for 8 years.
Yeah,
No worries.
I'll get you a
We can
payment under
spread it out.
$500 a month.
Right.
But meanwhile, they're at 27% interest, and it's stretched out for 120 months.
Car's worth nothing at the end.
Yeah, car's worth nothing about 2 years after they bought it.
Right.
So especially cars, because we all need them, especially Jersey. We're a driving culture, but it's also a depreciating asset. Listen, we all want to look cool. I get that, man. I have some cool cars.
I
But
like your red Corvette.
yeah, exactly. But don't get sucked into the I gotta look cool for the gram. Just don't do it.
Grand.
Look at you being modern.
Hey, listen, I gotta stay.
that
I
was
gotta,
your
I gotta try.
comeback after you
I
felt
have to
old,
try and
Graham.
sound relevant. I gotta try and sound relevant.
All right, are we ready to move on to
Yeah.
Turnpike
Yeah,
Talk?
we're
We
Turnpike talk
appreciate all your
time. Hey, what's
expertise
Turnpike
from
talk?
the field. So that's actually
Everything New Jersey.
Yeah, so it's
We
one of the
just-
segments that we started.
Okay, cool.
Pop out
Alright.
some questions, and you just tell us what side of it you're on.
Oh boy.
So,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you want
Wants
to
to
start?
Yeah, pork roll or Taylor ham.
Taylor ham.
Ah, hashtag
That's
not how-
disappointment.
Well, because that's what I was told it was called when I was growing up. First of all, let's be real clear. Taylor ham, when I was a kid, that was kind of like a luxury. Like it was never served to us on our table,
Right.
and it was called Taylor ham. Anyway, go ahead. What else?
Bagel order.
We're doing one at a time, but you keep going.
Oh,
I'm just teasing. Go ahead.
bagel order. I like a toasted everything bagel with butter on it.
That
You know,
sounds good.
keep it simple.
Yeah.
I like a
Raj.
plain bagel. I'm good with plain, but toasted with butter.
Nice. Do you think Central Jersey exists?
Of course it does.
All right. Good.
Jesus.
That's the right answer.
Yeah.
Ice cream, soft serve or hard?
Settle down.
Woo!
Soft serve. But I have preferences for both. I love vanilla soft serve.
Okay.
Okay. And hard ice cream. I love Ben and Jerry's New York Super Fudge Chunk.
Ooh, that sounds good. Do you have any favorite spots for your ice
That's
cream
what I was
place?
just going to ask. Good
Sorry.
question.
Okay. So I'm from Freehold, as you know. And Freehold has Jersey Freeze, which is I don't know. Whoa, this cord is fighting me. I don't know if you guys, do you guys know Jersey Freeze? It is kind of an institutional landmark in Central Jersey. It's located in
That's
Freehold.
good to know. When I'm out there, I'd love to check
Oh yeah,
it out.
yeah. It's right on Route 9, and they're strictly soft serve. Do they serve? I have
always
no
all
idea.
over. Now
I
we
don't
got
even
an
know
ice
if they
cream
serve
spot.
hard ice
Exactly.
cream because I've never ordered hard ice cream. When I'm down at the Jersey Shore,
That was my next one.
Yeah.
Where down the shore do you like your ice cream?
we have a variety of places to choose from. I am privileged to have a house in Lavallette, New Jersey.
Beautiful
And that's where I
town.
spend my summers with my wife. I even answer my phone on the beach. And I was like, okay, I'm just entering into an office for a meeting. I will call you back in about 2 hours as soon as this meeting's over. Hoffman's is one that I like. And honestly, down the shore, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting an ice cream shop.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even remember all the names. There's like, I don't know, Dipper or Skipper or
Skipper
something.
Dipper.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, look. Okay, yeah, that one.
Got the old school, what is it,
Coors is primarily on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Okay. Which, listen, if you've done that, you don't go to the boardwalk, so.
Oh.
Oh, shit.
As
love the
Benny's, when we
boardwalk,
don't
yeah.
have a house, as Benny's have to go to the boardwalk.
Yeah, we don't go to the boardwalk. Ahoy! But there is there's an ice cream shop in Lavallette that I love. We only go there like once during the summer, and I forget the name, but they do shows. You know, they sing and dance, and you get your ice cream there. And I wish people who have been there know exactly what I'm talking about. I can't think of the name, but whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah, what else you want to know about?
Yeah, and then this is actually a fun fact. Not that you have to answer it. Do you know what waters the Statue of Liberty is?
What?
What state?
It's not. Yeah, what
Yeah,
state?
it's in Jersey.
Yeah.
I didn't know that actually. I found that about recently, which is.
I've
nuts
known
to
that
me.
since I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
He asked me earlier. I'm like, yeah.
And you know, and the other saying is that, well, why does it face New York? Okay, because it's got to keep its eye on New Yorkers. They can't be trusted.
Like the New Jersey.
That's a great answer.
It's like the New Jersey Giants and New Jersey Jets. They don't play New York. They play New Jersey.
No, I know. And you know, listen, I love Jersey. I'm a Jersey guy through and through. I don't care if they call them New York Jets or New York Giants. I don't care. First of all, those of us who live here, we don't use all three words. They're either the Jets or the Giants.
True. Exactly.
Nobody's going to spend any energy on those extra syllables.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's you asked
Yeah.
the team. I like the New York Giants.
Yeah. New
even
York
sounds funny.
Giants. From the Big Apple. You want to talk about New Jersey grant loans, or are we like done talking about mortgages? We don't have to.
Up to you if you want. Oh yeah, yeah.
Let's finish up with that because that
Right,
sounds
yeah,
like
because
something really
you do
important
have
our
a-
because I do
listeners
get a lot of
could use.
You have a
inquiries
unique
for them.
program, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've been doing it for many years now, and so for those of you that are curious, you can get up to $22,000 from the state of New Jersey for free. There
For
are
free?
strings attached. There are strings attached, but it's essentially for free to buy your first house. Okay, what are some of the requirements? You have to have a 620 credit score. A lot of the requirements, believe it or not, are limitations. In other words, if you make too much money, you're not eligible. We'll use Middlesex County, or what are we, Somerset County?
Somerset County,
I think the income limit, don't quote me on this, it's probably 170-something thousand. It varies from county to county, okay? So if you make more than, that limit, you're not going to be eligible.
Now that limit, is it per individual or household?
Whoever's my applicants. If I have 2 applicants and their income exceeds that, you don't qualify. If you have more than 20% liquid assets, you're not eligible. So you see what I'm saying is that I actually run into more issues where people are overqualified. And as I like to tell people, these grants are designed to get you to the finish line. They're not designed to give 22 grand to somebody who frankly doesn't need it, okay? I do these loans where without it, they're not getting a house. And that's its intended purpose. Now, when I say there's strings attached, well, you get this money. It's considered a silent mortgage tacked onto the house, like a second mortgage. You don't make any payments. But if you sell that house, if you refinance that mortgage any time in the first 5 years, you got to pay back all the money. Has to be paid back. But let me just clarify. It's actually a $15,000 grant, but you can also get an additional $7,000 on top of it if you are a first-generation home buyer. How do they define a first-generation home buyer? You come to me, you're buying a house. If mom or dad, and assuming they're still with us on this planet, because you could be a first-time buyer in your 50s, 60s. If mom and dad are with us and they presently do not own a home, that person is considered a first-generation home buyer. Let's say mom and dad owned a house, or mom owned a house for the last 40 years and just sold it last month. Now she's renting. You're considered a first-generation home buyer.
Okay. Very cool.
Pretty wild, right?
Yeah.
Now, that was one of the questions I was going to ask is... Now I forgot the question.
Damn it! Where's the damn it doll?
Where's the damn it doll? I don't know. It's gone.
Nah,
It happens. It'll come back.
You guys doing a great job with the questions, though. I mean it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Except for mine.
Because I was concerned that I was like, do I have to come up with topics? But you guys, thankfully, I didn't have to.
We did our homework.
Yeah.
We came prepared.
I can talk about anything, but I just don't want to come up with a topic.
Yeah.
No, I would definitely want to thank you for coming on today. Like, it's been a wealth of information. I feel like for us as agents and for anybody who's listening, there was, information for everyone today. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm ready to take a nap after this.
Oh, what?
Oh, because I wore you out.
The young ones, well, that's
I'm young, but that was going.
Well, does anybody else have anything else, or should we release this man after keeping him here all this time?
I think he might be ready to be unchained.
All right, Jake, you can pull the cord that was tripping him up before.
I do appreciate it. I'm flattered that you guys asked me.
Of course.
Thank you.
And hopefully, I've contributed one way or another, where you guys feel a little bit smarter, like you're walking away with a little bit more knowledge, and hopefully, your listeners, viewers, also feel the same way. That's my job. I love what I do. If you can't tell, I legitimately love what I do.
100%.
We all have days where we feel the burn, but those are few and far between for me. I don't care. I love talking about mortgages.
Definitely.
The most interesting man in mortgage. Again, Kevin, thank you so much.
Much
Thank you.
appreciated, man.
Thank you.
Very good.
And thank you for listening to our podcast, Selling the Garden State. Da 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 da.